The core is collapsing. We must decide now.
The Galactic Council had governed known space for 32,000 years. 12 species occupied its seats. Each had earned the position through conquest, alliance, or calculated surrender. Together, they controlled 70% of the galactic disk. Together, they decided which civilizations lived and which were erased from record. The Council did not invade, it did not occupy, it did not need to. It managed. Trade routes were allocated by Council decree. Border disputes were resolved by Council arbitration. Technological development was monitored by Council oversight. Any species that reached a threshold of advancement received an invitation. Join the Council, accept the hierarchy, follow the rules. Or be designated unmanaged. Unmanaged species did not last, not because the Council destroyed them directly, because the Council excluded them from every system that made interstellar life possible. No trade access, no navigation data, no diplomatic recognition, no seat at the table. They withered slowly, quietly, always. The Vellori refused the invitation 8,000 years ago. They are extinct now. Their worlds are occupied by 3 Council species. Their technology sits in archived databases. Their name is a warning taught to every emerging civilization. The Drethak accepted 4,000 years ago. They sit at the lowest seat. They vote when permitted. They trade when allowed. They exist at the pleasure of the senior members. This is the order of the galaxy, stable, predicable, unchallenged for 32,000 years. Then the human invitation was issued. It arrived through standard diplomatic channels, encoded in Council protocol, formally worded, politely phrased, an invitation for the human species to send a delegation to the Council chambers at Nexus Station. Humans had been spacefaring for 300 years. They held 314 colonized systems near the galactic rim. Their military was estimated at 9,000 vessels. Their technology was rated early interstellar. By Council standards, they were insignificant. The invitation was procedural. Every species that reached the development threshold received one, most accepted within days. The humans took 6 months to respond. Their reply contained 2 words. We accept. Councillor Vellori read the message in his private chambers aboard Nexus Station. He was the senior representative of the Vellori, the oldest species on the Council. The first to achieve faster-than-light travel 60,000 years ago, his people had written the original Council charter. They had designed the hierarchy. They had shaped the galaxy into what it was. Vellori had served on the Council for 11,000 years. He had watched the Vellori refuse and perish. He had watched the Drethak accept and submit. He had watched hundreds of minor species take their places at the bottom of the hierarchy. Humans would be no different. He set the message down and summoned his aide. Prepare the standard integration briefings. The human delegation arrives in 14 days, lowest seat, standard diplomatic protocols, full security screening. Yes, Counselor. Contact the Drethak representative. Inform them they will no longer hold the lowest seat. They may express gratitude. The aide departed. Vellori turned to the viewport. Nexus Station orbited a dying star at the gravitational center of the galaxy. The station was a marvel constructed over 10,000 years by the combined resources of all 12 Council species. It housed the Council chambers, the diplomatic complex, the trade arbitration courts, and the central navigation network. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy depended on that network. Every route, every buoy, every coordinate. Without it, interstellar travel collapsed in days. Whoever controlled Nexus Station controlled the network. The Council controlled Nexus Station. That would not change. The human delegation's arrival was broadcast across every Council system. Every unmanaged species monitored what signals they could intercept. A new member joining the Council was rare. The last edition had been the Ilthari 900 years ago. Before that, the Brogan 2,200 years ago. The human shuttle appeared at the Nexus Station perimeter. Standard approach vector, standard communication protocols, everything by the book. Vellori observed from the Council viewing gallery. 11 other councillors stood beside him. Each represented a founding or integrated species. Each watched with varying degrees of attention. They are early, said Councillor Miltha, the Sarathi representative, a diplomat measured in all things. Punctuality is not a trait I associate with primitive species, said Councillor Kren, the Vorath representative, blunt, aggressive. The Vorath had earned their seat through military conquest 3,000 years ago and had not softened since. They are not primitive Ms. Iltha said early interstellar, there is a difference. There is not. They crawled out of their gravity well 3 centuries ago. Our species had FTL travel before their civilization invented writing. Their civilization had writing 40,000 years ago, Kren. They simply developed slower in other areas. The intelligence files are clear on this point. Kren dismissed her with a gesture. The shuttle docked, the airlock cycled, the delegation emerged. Vextherin counted 6 humans, 5 in dark formal attire, 1 in a military uniform, no visible weapons, no escort, no security detail beyond the single soldier. This was normal. New delegations arrived small. They did not understand the protocols. They did not grasp the significance of every gesture. The lead human approached the receiving line. Female, middle-aged by human standards, dark hair pulled back, sharp eyes, she moved with a calm that Vextherin had not expected. Most new delegates trembled, hesitated, showed awe or fear. This human moved like she belonged. I am Ambassador Alina Cross. I speak for the United Human Dominion. We thank the Council for this invitation. Her words were precise. Her tone was level, no deference, no submission, no indication that she understood she was addressing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Vextherin found it irritating. I am Counselor Vextherin. I speak for the Thaldori and for this council in matters of protocol. Welcome to Nexus Station. Your delegation will be escorted to your quarters. The formal integration ceremony occurs in 3 standard days. We requested the ceremony today. The statement landed wrong. Vextherin paused, the other counselors shifted. The integration ceremony follows an established schedule. 3 days of orientation, briefing, and preparation are required before. We completed our orientation, we read the briefings, we are prepared. You had 6 months since your acceptance, the briefings alone require. We finished them in the first week. The remaining 5 months were spent on other preparations. Vextherin studied her face. She was not negotiating, she was stating a fact. The schedule exists for a reason, Ambassador. It ensures new members understand their position within the hierarchy before formal admission. We understand our position. You do not. Your position is the lowest seat. You vote last. You speak when recognized. You abide by the decisions of senior members. This is not negotiable. Ambassador Cross looked at him. Then she smiled, a small expression, controlled. It did not reach her eyes. We are aware of the hierarchy, Counselor. We are also aware that the hierarchy is about to change. We request the ceremony today. If the Council refuses, we will proceed with our agenda regardless. The words regardless hung in the air. Kren stepped forward. You are in no position to make demands, human. You are unmanaged. You are here because we permitted it. That permission can be revoked. The military human shifted his weight. A small motion, but it carried a threat that Vextherin's ancient instincts recognized. Cross placed a hand on the soldier's arm. He relaxed. Counselor Kren, we are not making demands, we are making a request. And we are confident that once the Council hears what we have to say, the schedule will seem unimportant. Vextherin considered. Refusing would create tension before the human was seated. It would be petty. The Thaldori were not petty. Very well, the ceremony proceeds today, 2 hours from now, Council Chambers. Cross bowed, exactly the correct depth for a junior member greeting a senior. Thank you, Counselor, we will be ready. The delegation was escorted away. Vextherin watched them go. She is confident for a representative of a species with 9,000 ships, Miltha said quietly. Confidence and capability are not the same thing. No, but they are often found together. The council chambers occupied the central spire of Nexus Station, a vast circular room, 12 seats arranged in a tiered semicircle, the lowest seat at the bottom, the highest belonging to the Thaldori at the top. A 13th seat had been added, below the Drethak, below everyone. Vextherin entered first and took his position at the top. The other councillors filed in by seniority: Miltha, Kren, the Brogan, the Ilthari, the Tellan, the Urani, the Fenish, the Yoth, the Vorath secondary, the Sarathi secondary, the Drethak. 12 seats filled, 1 empty. The doors opened, Cross entered with her 5 companions. The military human stopped at the entrance, arms folded, watching. Cross walked to the 13th seat. She did not sit, she stood beside it, facing the semicircle of councillors above her. The presiding arbiter spoke, a neutral figure, not a council member, a facilitator elected from a non-member species. Ambassador Alina Cross of the United Human Dominion, you stand before the Galactic Council to accept the terms of integration. Do you understand the obligations of membership? I do. Do you accept the hierarchical seating arrangement, with your species assigned to the 13th position? I do not. Silence, the arbiter blinked. Several counselors leaned forward. Ambassador, the seating is not optional, it is determined by. I understand how it is determined, I am declining it. Vextheron stood. Ambassador Cross, this is not a negotiation. The hierarchy is the foundation of the council. It has existed for 32,000 years, you do not decline it. Cross looked up at him. From the bottom of the chamber she appeared small, surrounded by elevated seats. The visual was deliberate, designed to make new members feel insignificant. It was not working. Counselor Vextheron, I respect the council's history, but I did not come here to sit at the bottom of your arrangement. I came to rearrange it. Kren laughed a harsh sound. Rearrange it with what? Your 9,000 ships, your early interstellar technology. With this. Cross nodded to one of her companions, a young man in dark attire. He opened a case and removed a small device. He placed it on the floor of the chambers and activated it. A holographic display erupted. It filled the entire room. A three-dimensional map of the galaxy, council territory in gold, human territory in blue. The blue region was small, 314 systems, a speck near the rim. Then the display changed. The blue expanded. Not gradually, instantly, hundreds of systems lit up. Thousands, tens of thousands, the blue consumed the outer galactic rim, then it pushed inward, past council borders, past unmanaged space, into regions no human ship had ever been detected in. Numbers appeared above the display. Human colonized systems, 47,312. Vextheron stopped breathing. That is not possible, Kren said. He was standing. Our surveys are intelligence. Your species has 300 systems. Your surveys detected 300 systems because we wanted them to detect 300 systems. The remaining 47,000 were built in secrecy over 2 centuries using stealth technology your sensors cannot identify. The chambers erupted, counselors shouted, security teams moved toward the doors. Cross raised her hand, the noise faded, not because she had authority, because what she had shown was beyond the range of rage. I will explain everything, but first I need the council to understand that we are not here as a junior member seeking a seat at your table. We are here because the table itself needs to change, and we are the ones changing it. Vextheron commanded silence with a gesture. He had lived 11,000 years. He had survived wars, assassinations, and political crises that would have destroyed lesser beings. He would not lose composure now. 47,000 systems. You claim humanity controls more territory than any single council species. Not more than any single council species, more than all council species combined. The number struck the room like a physical force. The combined territory of all 12 council members was approximately 40,000 systems. Proof of Vextheron said. The display is a real-time sensor feed. Our navigation network is broadcasting the location of every human system simultaneously. Your own sensors can verify the coordinates. Send probes, send ships. Every coordinate contains a human colony. Miltha moved first. She activated her console and cross-referenced the coordinates with Council stellar databases. The coordinates are valid. These are real star systems. Many were listed as unoccupied, but the energy signatures now, there is something there, something our sensors never detected before. Stealth fields, Cross said, developed 240 years ago. They prevent automated survey drones from recognizing our worlds as inhabited. Any species relying on long-range sensor data never knew we were there. The Council relies on long-range sensor data, Miltha said quietly. Yes, we know. Vextheron sat back, 47,000 systems, hidden in plain sight for 2 centuries. Why hide? Why not declare your territory? Why accept an invitation to sit at the bottom of a hierarchy you did not need? Because we needed to be inside the council before we could change it. The answer was simple, devastatingly simple. You accepted the invitation not to join, you accepted it to infiltrate. We accepted it to reform it, there is a difference. Kren moved toward Cross, 2 Voreth guards followed. This is an act of war. Hidden colonies inside council territory violate the founding charter. Article 7 of the founding charter. No species shall establish colonies within the recognized borders of a council member without formal agreement. Correct. The human colonies within council borders were established. Before those borders were recognized. Our colonies in the Vellori expanse predate the Voreth expansion by 90 years. Our colonies in the Sarathi Deep Zone predate Sarathi settlement by 120 years. We were there first. You did not know it. Kren stopped. Cross continued. We have documentation, stellar surveys, colonization records, resource extraction logs, all time-stamped. In every case where human territory overlaps council borders, our claim predates yours. Miltha checked, her console confirmed each entry. She is correct, the human records are legitimate. Their claims predate ours in 14 disputed sectors. Vextheron felt the political ground shift beneath him. If human claims predated council claims in even one sector, the legal implications were enormous. In 14 sectors, it was catastrophic. Territorial claims are a matter for arbitration courts. They do not justify refusing the seating arrangement. The claims are context, counselor. They demonstrate that humanity is not a minor species. We are the largest territorial power in the galaxy. We have been for over a century. We hid it because we needed the council to underestimate us. That underestimate ends now. Cross nodded to her companion. The display changed. A new map, not territorial, military. Human fleet strength, 2.1 million warships. The number appeared in bold text above the holographic galaxy. It did not flicker. It did not change. 2.1 million, Kren whispered. Built in secret over 200 years, stationed across our 47,000 systems. Organized, trained, and ready, we have not deployed them, we have not threatened anyone with them, we have simply built them. The combined military strength of all 12 council species was approximately 4 million ships. The humans alone commanded more than half that number. You built a war fleet larger than any single council member while pretending to be a minor species. We built a defensive fleet while preparing for this moment. The fleet exists to ensure that no one can prevent what we are about to do. And what are you about to do, Ambassador? Cross looked directly at Vextheron. Reorganize the council permanently. Cross walked to the center of the chambers. She stood beneath the holographic display. 47,000 blue points of light glowed above her. What I show you next will be difficult to accept. I ask for your patience. She nodded to a third companion, an older woman, gray hair, steady hands. The woman activated a second device. The display split, on the left the galactic map, on the right a timeline stretching back 32,000 years. This is a record of every council decision that resulted in the suppression, extinction, or subjugation of a species. The timeline populated, entries appeared hundreds, thousands. 32,000 years ago, the council forms. Within the first millennium, it designates 47 species as unmanaged. 39 disappear within 500 years, no record of why, no investigation. The entries glowed red. 28,000 years ago, the Vellori develop FTL travel. They are invited to join, they refuse. Within 200 years, their stellar neighborhood is annexed by 3 council members. The Vellori are extinct. More red entries. 20,000 years ago, the Vellori, 8,000 years ago, the Thresh, 5,000 years ago, the Morvani, 3,000 years ago, the Keithrani enclaves that existed before the Dominion absorbed them. Vextheron went rigid. The Keithrani enclaves were his species' oldest colonies, predating the council itself. Council records showed they had been abandoned. Vextheron had believed that for millennia. The Keithrani enclaves were not abandoned, Cross said. They were absorbed by council order. Their populations were relocated and distributed among council species as labor. The Thaldori approved the relocation. You signed the order yourself, counselor. Vextheron said nothing. He remembered that order. He had been told the enclaves were failing, that the populations were dying. That relocation was mercy. He had not questioned it. The council has not managed the galaxy. It has farmed it. Species rise, they reach a threshold. They are invited to join. If they accept, they are positioned at the bottom and stripped of autonomy. If they refuse, they are erased. You do not govern, you consume. This is slander, Kren said. His voice was lower now. It is documented fact. Every entry on this timeline is sourced from your own archives. We have had access to them for 160 years. The room went still. 160 years, Miltha repeated. We infiltrated the Council's information network 160 years ago. Our operatives have been embedded on Nexus Station since before the Ilthari were admitted. We have copies of every document, every communication, every decision, every secret. Vextheron felt something cold move through him. 160 years. That meant human operatives had been on Nexus Station during the Brogan integration, during the Vorath seat conflicts, during every sensitive moment in recent council history. Who, he asked, which of my people betrayed me? None of your people, Counselor. Our operatives are human, always human. They serve as aides, technicians, maintenance workers, the species you do not notice because you do not believe they matter. Vextheron thought about the maintenance crews on Nexus Station, the technicians who repaired systems, the quiet, invisible people who kept the station running. How many were humans? How many? At this moment, 4,312 human operatives are on Nexus Station. They have been here for decades, some for over a century. They have access to every system, every database, every communication channel. Security teams in the chambers shifted. They looked at each other, at the doors, at the military human who stood motionless at the entrance. Cross let the numbers settle. We did not come here to make demands. We came to present a choice. The Council can reorganize itself voluntarily, or we will reorganize it for you. Kren moved toward the door. He was going to call his ships. The military human stepped into his path, not aggressively, calmly, but the message was clear. Counselor Kren, your fleet is currently being contacted. All Vorath military vessels within 12 systems of Nexus Station have been intercepted by human fleet elements. They have been informed that any hostile action will result in the immediate containment of the Vorath homeworld. Kren froze. You are bluffing. Activate your communicator, contact your flag captain, ask him. Kren pulled out his communicator, spoke quickly, listened, his face changed. They are there, human ships, thousands of them, they appeared from nothing. They were always there, Counselor, stationed in your territory for 40 years, you simply could not detect them. Kren lowered the communicator. The expression on his face was one Vextheron had never seen on a Vorath. Fear. Cross addressed the chambers. Every council member's military forces are being contacted simultaneously. Not attacked. Contacted, informed, this is not an invasion, this is a demonstration. We are showing you that we could strike every one of your homeworlds at the same moment, and we are choosing not to. Vextheron's console chimed, a message from the Thaldori home fleet. He read it, then read it again. Human ships had appeared in the Thaldori core systems, not a squadron, an armada. The Thaldori admiral was requesting orders. Vextheron had no orders to give. The demonstration extends beyond military positioning, Cross continued. I mentioned we have access to every council system. That includes the Central Navigation Network. The Central Navigation Network, the backbone of galactic civilization, every FTL route, every navigation buoy, every coordinate database. Without it, interstellar travel became chaos. Ships would wander into hazards, trade would stop, civilizations would collapse. Every species in the galaxy depended on it. We have had administrative access to the navigation network for 80 years. We have not altered it, we have not disrupted it, but we could. In approximately 4 seconds, we could shut down the entire network. Every ship in the galaxy loses navigation simultaneously. Your civilizations collapse within weeks. Miltha spoke carefully but with an edge. You are holding the galaxy hostage. No, Counselor, we are holding the Council accountable. There is a difference. Hostage-taking benefits the taker. Accountability benefits everyone. We are not asking for anything that serves human interests alone. Then what are you asking for? Cross activated a third display, a document in standard council script. The Council Reformation Charter, drafted over 100 years, 12 provisions. The document expanded, each provision appeared in sequence. Provision 1, the hierarchical seating arrangement is abolished. All member species have equal voting power, one species, one vote. Murmurs filled the chambers, equal voting. The Thaldori had held the senior seat for 32,000 years. Provision 2, the category of unmanaged species is abolished. All species, regardless of technological level, are granted basic diplomatic recognition and trade access. Provision 3, the Council's authority to designate species for suppression or extinction is revoked, permanently. Provision 4, all historical records of Council-ordered extinctions are declassified and made public. Provision 5, an independent judicial body is created to investigate historical crimes committed under Council authority. Provision 6, reparations are paid to serve. Iving descendants of species destroyed by Council action. Provision 7, the Central Navigation Network is placed under independent management. No single species controls it. Provision 8, Council members' military forces are capped at proportional levels. No species may maintain a fleet larger than 10% of total galactic military capacity. Provision 9, new member admission is based on objective criteria. Any species achieving FTL travel is automatically granted provisional membership. Provision 10, the presiding arbiter is elevated to chief executive with authority to enforce the charter and sanction violating members. Provision 11, human territorial claims are recognized. All 47,000 systems acknowledged as sovereign human territory. Provision 12, this charter cannot be amended without unanimous consent of all member species including new members. Close the display. 12 provisions non-negotiable. You will vote on each one, today, now. Kren found his voice, and if we vote no, then we implement the charter without your consent. We shut down the navigation network. We contain your military forces. We enforce the provisions directly. The result is the same. The only difference is whether you participate or have it imposed. Vextheron stood slowly. 11,000 years of authority, 32,000 years of Vellori legacy. You planned this for 200 years. Oh yes. You built 47,000 colonies in secret. Oh yes. You infiltrated our station, our networks, our most secure systems. Oh yes. You positioned 2 million ships throughout our territory without detection. Oh yes. You could have conquered us at any moment. Oh yes. Then why this, why the charter, why not simply take control? Cross looked at him, those sharp eyes, that controlled calm. Because conquest is what the Council does. We are not here to replace you. We are here to end the system that allowed you to do what you did. If we conquer you, we become you. We refuse. The silence lasted a long time. The vote took 40 minutes. Provision 1 passed 9-3. The Vellori, Voreth, and Yoth voted against. It did not matter. The charter required a simple majority. Provision 2 passed 11-1. Only the Voreth opposed. Provision 3 passed unanimously. No councillor was willing to publicly defend the right to commit extinction. Provision 4 passed 10-2. The Vellori and Yoth opposed. Their objections were noted and discarded. Provision 5 passed 9-3. Provision 6 passed 8-4. The strongest opposition. Reparations were expensive, but the human fleet remained positioned around every homeworld. Expensive was better than extinct. Provision 7 passed unanimously. Even the Vellori recognized that losing control of the navigation network was preferable to losing it entirely. Provision 8 passed 10-2, military caps. The Voreth and Yoth opposed, their fleets would be reduced. The alternative was reduction to 0. Provision 9 passed unanimously. Automatic membership for FTL-capable species. It cost nothing, it changed everything. Provision 10 passed 9-3, the arbiter elevated to executive power. The current arbiter sat motionless as the vote was recorded. It had not expected this. Provision 11 passed 10-2, human territorial claims recognized. 47,000 systems. Sovereign, the largest single territory in the galaxy, legitimized by the vote of the body that had controlled galactic borders for 32,000 years. Provision 12 passed unanimously. Unanimous consent required for amendments. The charter was locked in place permanently. 12 provisions all passed. Cross stood in the center of the chambers as the final vote was recorded. She did not celebrate, she did not smile. The presiding arbiter rose, its small form trembled. It was no longer a facilitator. It was the chief executive of a reformed galactic government. The Reformation Charter is ratified. The Galactic Council is reorganized under the new charter. All provisions take effect immediately. The arbiter looked at Cross. Ambassador Cross, under the new charter there is no hierarchical seating. Where would you like to sit? Cross looked at the semicircle. All seats equal now, same height, same position. She chose a seat in the center, not the top, not the bottom, among equals. She sat down. The chambers were quiet. The weight of what had happened settled over the councillors like snow. 32,000 years of order, gone in an afternoon, not destroyed, replaced, by a species they had invited to their table because they thought it did not matter. Vextheron stood, the other councillors watched him, the oldest member of the oldest species, the architect of the old order. He had lost his seniority, his authority, his control over the galaxy he had shaped. Walked down from the top seat, past the other councillors. He stopped in front of Cross. She looked up at him. You planned this from the moment you received the invitation. We planned this 200 years before we received the invitation. The invitation was the final piece. We needed to be here, inside the chambers, on the record. You could have been refused. You would never refuse. The Council has invited every FTL-capable species for 32,000 years. Refusing us would have broken your own precedent. It would have raised questions you could not afford. Vextheron stared at her, then he did something no one expected. He bowed, not the shallow bow of a senior acknowledging a junior, the deep bow of recognition, of respect for an opponent who had outmaneuvered him completely. Your species planned for 200 years, built in secret, infiltrated our most secure institutions, positioned forces throughout our territory, and when the moment came, you did not fire a single weapon. We did not need to. No, you did not, he straightened. I have one question. Ask. Was there ever a moment when you considered simply destroying us, taking our territory by force? It would have been faster. Cross was quiet for a moment. Yes, there were voices in our government that argued for conquest. Some military leaders wanted war, but our leadership chose this path instead because war would have proven that might makes right, and might making right is the philosophy that created the Council. We refused to inherit it. Vextheron nodded slowly. You are either the most principled species in the galaxy or the most dangerous. Those are not mutually exclusive, Counselor. He turned and walked to his seat, equal now to the Drethak, equal to the humans, equal to every species he had once considered beneath him. The chambers emptied slowly, counselors left in pairs, alone, each processing what had happened, each understanding that the galaxy they woke up in tomorrow would not be the one they had known today. Cross remained seated, her companions gathered around her. The military officer moved from the door and stood behind her chair. Miltha approached last, she stopped in front of Cross. The other counselors will resist, quietly, slowly, they will look for ways to undermine the charter. We know we planned for that too. How? The same way we planned everything else. Patience, infiltration, observation. We have been inside your systems for 160 years, Counselor. We know how every one of you operates. We know your alliances, your rivalries, your secrets. If any counselor moves against the charter, we will know before they take the first step. Miltha studied her for a long moment. You said accountability benefits everyone. Did you mean that? Every word. Even for humanity. If a human world commits an offense under the new charter, will you accept the same consequences? Yes, the charter applies to us the same as it applies to you. That is the point. Miltha nodded. She turned and walked toward the exit. She stopped at the door. The ambassador. Oh, yes. The Sarathi have held a seat on this council for 14,000 years. In all that time, no species has ever made us feel small. Until today. She left. Cross sat alone in the chambers. The holographic display still glowed above her. 47,000 blue points of light. 2.1 million ships hidden in the dark. 4,000 operatives on the station. 160 years of preparation. All of it invisible until the moment it was not. Her military officers spoke for the first time. Ma'am, fleet commanders report all positions confirmed, no hostile action taken by any council force. The navigation network is secure, the operatives are holding position. Cross nodded. And the secondary fleet. 600,000 vessels, holding at the boundary of council space, ready to advance if needed. It will not be needed. No, ma'ams. Cross stood, she looked up at the seats. All equal now. 12 species that had ruled the galaxy for 32,000 years, reduced to the same level as the species they had invited to sit beneath them. She walked to the viewport. Stars filled the frame, billions of them, each one a sun, each one surrounded by worlds, each world populated by beings who would wake up tomorrow in a galaxy that had changed forever. She thought about the Vellori, the Pelori, the Thresh, the Morvani, the dozens of species that had been erased by council decree. Gone, forgotten, except by the humans who had read their files and cataloged their crimes and carried their memory into this room. This was for them. Not revenge, justice. There was a difference. She turned from the viewport and walked toward the exit. Her companions fell into step behind her. The military officer took point. They moved through the corridors of Nexus Station with the same calm precision that had defined every moment of this day. 4,000 human operatives watched them pass. None acknowledged the delegation. None needed to. They knew the plan. They knew the outcome. They had known for decades. The station hummed around them. The navigation network pulsed through its conduits. The galaxy turned beyond the hull, indifferent to the shift in power that had just occurred within these walls. Cross paused at the docking bay. Her shuttle waited, the same small shuttle that had arrived hours ago, unremarkable, forgettable. She looked back at the station, at the chambers above her, at the seat she had chosen in the center of the semicircle. Tomorrow she would return, and the day after, and the day after that, she would sit in that seat, she would vote, she would speak. She would do the work of governance that the council had always claimed to do but never actually performed. That was the real flip. Not the fleet, not the territory, not the infiltration. The flip was that humanity was going to do what the council had pretended to do for 32,000 years. Actually govern. Fairly, equally, without preference. She boarded the shuttle, the door closed, the engines fired. The shuttle pulled away from Nexus Station. Behind it, the station glowed in the light of a dying star, the same star it had orbited for 10,000 years. Nothing about the station had changed. Everything about the galaxy had. 3 weeks later, a minor species on the outer rim achieved faster-than-light travel for the first time. Under the old council, they would have received an invitation. They would have been placed at the bottom of the hierarchy. They would have been slowly stripped of autonomy until they were indistinguishable from the species above them. Under the new charter, their FTL achievement was automatically detected by the independent admission system. Provisional membership was granted within seconds. Trade access was opened. Navigation data was transmitted. Diplomatic recognition was recorded. No invitation required, no hierarchy to climb, no seat to earn. They simply existed, and the galaxy acknowledged them. No one from the council voted on it. No senior member approved it. No one debated whether this species deserved to be included. The system worked the way it was always supposed to work. The humans had not built a new empire. They had built a new framework, one that did not require emperors, one that did not require hierarchies, one that did not require the strong to dominate the weak. It required only one thing: that someone enforce it. And someone would. Forever if necessary. Apex Chronicle. The galaxy did not change because humanity conquered it. It changed because humanity sat at the table, flipped it over, and built something better from the pieces.